Hey everybody, welcome back to Old Man Van Running. We're here again in the Old Man Van Cave, in the Old Man Van Castle. I'm here to give you my first impressions review of the ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3. Mild to moderate stability daily trainer. So before we get into the first impressions review, a couple of things. Make sure you hit that like button. And also, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll get notified when more videos are posted. And like always, please, comments. Any and all comments really does help my channel. Now that that stuff's all out of the way, let's get outside and see how the GEL-KAYANO LITE 3 performed out on the road. Hey everybody, Old Man Van here. I'm here at the Farmington Canal Trail in Cheshire, Connecticut, getting ready for my 6th post-COVID run. And today I am wearing the ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3s. Hey everybody, so I'm out here on the Farmington Canal Trail Sunday, and I am wearing the ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3s. I've got about, I think this is the 4th run in them. This will put them, you know, over 10 miles. They feel pretty good. They're more comfortable, meaning the upper and the fit, than the GEL-KAYANO 29s. So I just think in these first few runs, they're a better shoe for me than the 29s. A little bit less cushioning, but they're not clunky. They don't have a clunky feeling, which in my personal experience is what I had in the 29s. So I think these are going to be a better shoe for me. Lighter, a little more responsive, still adequate cushioning, albeit not as much. Still going good. A little over 1.5 miles, and the ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3s performing very well. Nice and smooth. Really like them so far. And hey, I'm feeling pretty good. Okay, I'm 5 miles in to my Sunday long run. The ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3s performing outstanding. Nice and smooth, really like it. So I'm done. Great run out there today in the ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3s. Average 9:11 per mile for 10.03 miles. Maintained a nice zone 2 heart rate, so that was awesome. So a really good run today. First longest run in the LITE 3s, but they performed admirably, very comfortable, very smooth. No change from the shorter runs. Cushion is adequate. You know, it's not as soft as the GEL-KAYANO 29 or the Glycerin GTS 20. However, it is more than adequate for, say, some longer runs. Absolutely. So really, really good. I'll give you a lot more details in the first impressions review. Okay, we're back inside. I think we need to get right into the numbers on the GEL-KAYANO LITE 3. So, first of all, price. The GEL-KAYANO LITE 3 comes in at $160 US or $159.99, depending on where you purchase it from. You know, that's a, price is starting to get up there on daily trainers, and this is no different. If you recall my Saucony Guide 16 review last week, that's only $140 US, but I think $160 is a reasonable price if the GEL-KAYANO LITE 3 turns out to be a durable, versatile, short to long distance trainer. Now to weight. GEL-KAYANO LITE 3. Okay, that implies that it's a lighter shoe, right? The GEL-KAYANO 29 is 10.5 ounces in a men's size 9. Well, the GEL-KAYANO LITE 3 comes in at only 9.9 ounces in a men's size 9, or 281 grams for you metric folks. Now, I'm going to tell you, any stability daily trainer that comes in under 10 ounces is a really, really good thing. And yeah, it's just slightly under 10 ounces, but as we'll see in the review, this shoe kind of lives up to his LITE 3 name. Now into the stack height. This gets a little confusing. I've read anywhere from 32 millimeters in the heel to 24 millimeters in the forefoot, down to 24 millimeters, 22 millimeters in the heel, and 14 millimeters in the forefoot. So, you know, it all depends on how folks are measuring this shoe. You know, some folks, they just take this measurement right here. Others, they include the sock liner in that. So, you know what? I haven't measured it myself. I'm hearing different measurements. Whatever, right? Let's get down to what really matters, and that's that heel to toe drop. So, 32 and 24, or 22 and 14, do the math. That equals a heel to toe drop of 8 millimeters. And as you know, 8 millimeters is the ideal heel to toe drop, according to Old Man Van. So now let's get into the construction. First of all, with this upper. This upper is made of jacquard mesh, or jacquard mesh. Anyway, hey, I got a lot of French in me, but I really don't know how to speak French, so however you pronounce it, jacquard mesh. It's a really comfortable mesh. It's a really comfortable mesh. It's nice and soft, it's pliable, molds around your foot. This upper is really comfortable. It's much more comfortable in my estimation than the upper in the GEL-KAYANO 29. So, big improvement, ASICS! Other details on this upper, as you can see here, there are some 3D overlays. They're not overdone at all. Not overdone at all. They do lend a little bit of extra structure to the upper, but it's not really noticeable at all, and I don't think they add a lot of weight. Reinforcement around the eyelets is very minimal, just around the eyelets themselves, so that's a real good thing. So they saved some weight there, saved some material. The shoe is very breathable. You can't really see the perforations here, but this is a very light layer, and apologize for the focus. And it's very breathable out there. Had no issues whatsoever. It's a real, like I said, a real comfortable upper. There's also plenty of room in the toe box. Plenty of room for my toes display. More room than in the GEL-KAYANO 29 and the previous GEL-KAYANO 28. So it's a better fit for me. I wear a size D, so that's medium width, and this is perfect. I have plenty of room for my toes to display in this toe box. It also fits very, very well around the midfoot and in the heel. It's a sock-like fit. Sock-like fit. It's really, really comfortable. It's not too narrow, not too wide. It just feels like it's hugging your feet, so that's a really good thing. Moving around to the heel counter in the shoe. Heel counter's got plenty of structure internally in there. There's this overlay right here, but it's a very comfortable but structured heel counter. I did not get any heel rub. I didn't get any slippage of my heel inside the shoe, so really, really good. Locks you in nice. It's very comfortable, and I like it. Now let's go to the laces. Here are these laces, right? You know I like flat laces. You know I like laces that don't stretch. These laces are a little interesting. They're flat, they don't stretch, but they got some texture, and as you might be able to see here, they're kind of wavy. They've got this waviness to them. When I cinched these down, they stayed tight. I ran without a double knot and I ran with a double knot. I did not have issues either way. You know, it's a little bit stiff, or they feel a little bit stiff at first, but they tie well. They tie pretty well and they stay tied. So that's a real important thing. Now the tongue. The tongue is semi-gusseted. Don't know if you can see it down there. Semi-gusseted, meaning the gusset doesn't come all the way to the top, but that's okay as well. The tongue stays in place. It's got plenty of padding, but it's not overdone. Similar to that in the Guide 16, so that's a really good amount of padding. It's very comfortable on top of the feet. When you cinch down the laces, I did not get too much pressure on the top of my foot, but there wasn't too much padding where I really had to cinch down the laces tight to get a nice, secure fit. Ankle and heel collar, well padded ankle and heel collar. Really like it. It's not over padded, not under padded, it's just right. Now to the sock liner. The sock liner, it's removable. It sits cradled just like in the Guide series in that midsole. So your foot sits in that midsole instead of on top of that midsole. It's very comfortable that way, and that'll also assist with the stability in the shoe. Now let's move on to the midsole. The midsole in the ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3 is a big slab of flight foam, ASICS flight foam. So somewhere within that midsole, and I think it's right here where the word gel is, there is a gel pad. It's not typical of the gel shoes from ASICS because you don't have a little window here or a little window here or see the pad. But from all accounts, there is a gel pad in that heel. I do like the look of this midsole as well. It's nice and sculpted, see the lines. It's got this little flare in the heel that looks somewhat like maybe some of the Nike shoes. It's just a really good looking midsole, and I like what they've done there, kind of feathering in another color. So it's really cool. I really like it. So good job with the styling there. So now the feel of this midsole. This midsole has some softness to it. I would characterize it as medium soft instead of medium firm. I think the Guide series from Saucony, that's more on the medium firm, and this is medium soft. This is not as soft as the regular GEL-KAYANO. It's not as soft as the Glycerin GTS 20 from Brooks, but it is soft enough to go all the way from short to long distances. So I really like that middle ground, and this really provides that. This midsole also has a little bit of responsiveness to it. It doesn't have a dead or dull feeling like the Hoka or Rahi 6, but it's not springy like in the Saucony Tempest. It's kind of in a middle ground there. I think the responsiveness in this shoe comes down to a couple of things. The midsole material itself has a little bit of resilience to it. It's not over soft, and it's got a little bit of spring to it, but also I think the geometry of the shoe helps with that responsiveness. Looking at the geometry in this midsole, you've got this heel bevel here, so that helps when you heel strike. It feels really smooth. It rolls you nicely to the midfoot. You've got this toe spring kind of rocker in the front of the shoe, so it really moves you through smoothly through toe off. You also have this guidance line technology right here, and what that does, it just helps guide your foot through the most efficient motion rolling through the gait cycle. Additionally, there's some flexibility in this shoe. So those flex screws right there, along with that guidance line, along with that geometry, that toe spring kind of rocker in the front. It's a really, really smooth ride. And no matter how many miles I ran in it, whether it was the first couple of miles on my 10-mile run or mile 9 or mile 10, it just felt really smooth and comfortable. Looking at this outsole, plenty of coverage from top to bottom in this outsole, all in the right places. You also have this AHAR Plus plug in the heel. That is high abrasion rubber. That is going to help make this a very durable shoe. So if this outsole lives up to its heftier sibling, the ASICS GEL-KAYANO 29, this should be an extremely durable shoe that should get you through hundreds and hundreds of miles. Now stability. There's no medial post. There's no mix of firmer and softer midsole materials. There's no little arch there in the heel. This shoe relies on a couple of simple things. First of all, your foot sits cradled in that midsole like we talked about. Look at the midsole here. It rides up on the lateral side. It rides up on the medial side. As you can see, your foot is cupped inside that wide, very wide base with that midsole. Look in the front. Look at how wide this base is.
See how the midsole and outsole flares outside the toe box? All the way through this shoe, you've got a very, very wide base. So the wide base, that guidance line, as I mentioned before, also helps with that. It guides your foot when you hit on the outside of your heel through a very natural and efficient line. So all those things together provide the stability in the shoe so they don't need medial posts or other more intrusive stability elements. So how stable is it? I never noticed that this shoe didn't have those other elements. All I noticed was my foot was just nice and stable without being over-controlled. It just was very natural, never felt like my foot was collapsing inwards, just a real natural smooth feel. I think that this shoe has enough stability even without those other elements. So great job by ASICS, not overdoing the stability elements, but ending up with a stability shoe that stability runners will love, and also neutral runners who want a little more support, maybe for those long runs, they'll be able to wear this shoe as well. Now to the ratings. I'm going to give the ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3 a score of 9.5 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10! That's a really good score. Why such a high score? I think this shoe is much better than the ASICS GEL-KAYANO 29. I think this shoe has enough cushioning that I can take it up to 20 miles with no problem, but I can also use it for shorter runs. It's light enough that maybe I can pick up the pace a little bit if I want to do a progression run or what have you. I think it's going to be plenty durable enough. We'll have to see. And I really did like that midsole in the ride of the shoe, along with the fit. From the ride perspective, this shoe was whisper quiet. That's something I really noticed. I noticed what I wasn't noticing, and that was there was no slapping. There was no noise whatsoever. It was one of the smoothest rides in a running shoe that I've ever experienced. It could be just me, but it was so smooth. And again, whisper quiet. Also, I didn't feel my feet starting to tire out towards the end of that 10-mile run. I felt as good as I did at the beginning. Those are all the reasons why this shoe is getting such a high score on first impressions. There you have my first impressions review of the ASICS GEL-KAYANO LITE 3. I really do appreciate you tuning in. If you got to the end of this video, I really do appreciate it. Thanks again. And remember, lace up those shoes and let's get out on the roads.